Hello. Um, so I am back back after what ended up being essentially a 6 week break. Um, Partly that was to travel back to the UK from Bali to see my friends and family for the first time in a couple of years, which was lovely. And and also this was a bit of an experiment for me to very intentionally take a chunk of time off in the middle of the year, which is a time of year that things often seem to go quiet for me work-wise. And this year, rather than fighting it and getting all stressed about it, I thought I would go with it and enjoy the winter. Um, and also, it turns out that much needed. I overcommitted myself significantly over kind of like May, June, and I really needed a break. And it was lush. I did very little work, um, very little many days, other than kind of connecting with people that I care about. And it was lovely. And now I'm kind of in that having to ease myself back into life, having kind of been away from work and been away from like my day-to-day existence. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's hard. um and particularly hard after, inertia is a thing. It's hard to slow down and it's hard to get an object that's stationary moving again. And so I kind of want to share some of the things I've been thinking about as I ease myself out of this winter and back into the kind of doing mode. And the first thing to say is emphasizing the word easing. And when I'm getting all perfectionist and overachieving about things, I tend to expect that I can go from zero back to 100 miles an hour instantly with no effort. And of course, it doesn't. I don't work like that. I am not. I'm not a Ferrari, and even Ferraris take a few seconds to go from zero to whatever. So there's something about easing, something about like really pacing myself in this spring, and it does feel like that. It feels like a really fresh start, coming back. Yeah, new opportunities and things, and also there's some grief. I had such a good time being with my family and like letting go of that again. There's some kind of grief as I'm coming back. So ease, kindness feel really important as sort of ways to orient myself, like ways of being. And then quite practically, what I'm finding really helpful is reintroducing structure slowly. So rather than kind of expecting myself to like immediately be back into routine and getting up on time and all of those things that I kind of like let myself not have to do while I was away. Get back into some kind of like exercise routine and meditation and all of those things that I've dabbled in at times when they felt good while I was on holiday. But yeah, what I'm finding is like slowly creating structures again is really helping me kind of find my way back into the embodiment of working and action, albeit I'm trying to learn a lot of lessons from the first half of the year and not overdo it. So introducing small structures, particularly kind of like into my day, I'm finding really helpful. So starting to have a scheduled time to get up, so having an alarm again, recommitting to a morning practice, and again doing this like really gently. So I have like a new little like spot set up in my bedroom so that I can kind of still like around my husband and my cats first thing in the morning. I don't want to like take myself away. That's felt really good to just kind of hang out. So yeah, giving myself like little ways to ease into the day, creating kind of markers for myself during the week. So Monday it's content day, getting back into that. But then not having too many expectations of myself beyond the basics. Yep. So kind of like really like realistic minimums of what I'm capable of doing right now, and giving myself a runway. I was off for 6 weeks. I'm not, tired. And so rather than expecting myself to kind of come back, and I did for a bit, like even before I left, I was like, I'll be fine, I'll start doing some work like while I'm back in the UK, and I like hit the ground running like the first week in August, and didn't really turn out like that, jet lag and emotions and life. And so I've like reevaluated my expectations for myself, and I'm like, September, that's what I'm aiming for. I'd like to be up and running again by September. And the month is going like scarily quick. I can't believe it's the 21st of August already. September's suddenly only like 10 days away. But that feels really good, just to give myself some space. So what's working? Slowly reintroducing structure, giving myself like some space, like a bit of a runway to get going, rather than expecting myself to kind of switch on immediately. And then really orienting towards this idea of easing my way into it, pacing myself, just like a marathon, like not like sprinting out with the firing gun. Oh yeah, I need to warm back up again, like limber up into this. Yeah, so I'd be really curious to hear what resonates, what works for you. What are the ways that you kind of reintegrate after a period of time off, after winter? And I'm speaking from a particularly like chunky break, but this for me also applies at the beginning of the day. Like, how do I ease myself out of sleep into the day? How do I ease myself back into spring after my bleed? Yeah, this idea of like really pacing myself, giving myself time to speed back up, and trusting that it will come back. Like, it feels a little clunky right now, but trusting that I'll find my groove again. Don't have to panic and force myself to be somewhere that I'm not. Yeah, I can have expectations, I can have commitments, and I can still be meeting myself where I am, and to beat myself up for not being more switched on things yet. It will come. I know it will. And then I'll do too much, and we'll be back in this. That cycle will turn again, because it always does. So yeah, I'd love to hear what works for you, questions you have, if this still feels sticky to you, if you've made mistakes in the past that you're learning from. Yeah, I'd really love to hear what you've got to share on this topic of easing out of winter. That's it from me today, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.